We're sitting here with LaVon Fisher, one of our stellar alumna from the University of Florida. What year did you graduate, LaVon?
Oh, Lord. I graduated in 1998.
That's right. So that was a few years before, after I arrived. And let's talk about your audition for UF.
Oh, Lord. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I didn't want him to interview me. Okay.
All right.
I don't want nobody to know the truth. Okay, go ahead.
All right. And so what happened was that LaVon was running late because it's impossible to find our buildings. We were over in McCarty. And so we said, well, I guess she's not coming. So all the faculty started to leave. And so LaVon comes running in with her flip-flops, like, oh my God, I'm so late. I still want to audition. Is everybody gone? I said, okay, that's okay. Let me see who I can find. So, and I said, well, we're here. All right, go ahead and audition. And so she did her monologues and stuff. And I looked at her resume. I'm like, oh, it looks like you sing, don't you? And she said, yeah. And I said, can you sing something a cappella? Because we don't have a pianist. And she opened her mouth. And I'm telling you, after she opened her mouth, that was it. You know, it was kind of one of those moments where I said, we have got to get this girl. So tell us how the journey went from University of Florida and you go to New York, because we always knew she was going to be a superstar. But
I had no idea.
I did.
You know what? I had a lot of people that believed in me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important.
Yeah.
Because even when you're ready to give up, because New York can be overwhelming. Yeah. You get there, there's 100 of you, and you're waiting to get in that room to sing, right. And you hear people who can sing higher, they're skinnier, they look, whatever, and you get this overwhelming sensation, I can't do this, but I had my mother, who was very big on me coming here as well as going to New York, because she was like, you have to give it a chance, you have to get a shot, because nobody is you. And you got to remember that. Nobody is you. There could be someone who sings higher. There could be someone who dances better. But you've got to believe that you're the answer to the question that those auditors have when you're in that room. You've got to believe that. You got to walk in like that. And like they say, fake it till you make it, honey. And so I did a lot of that. So it's really about all the divine interventions and all those angels that are around you, and networking and being humble enough to get into network, because a lot of people think they're fierce and fabulous, and I had my little fierce and fabulous moment, and you get humbled because there's 100 of you again. They had this kind of cabaret of Broadway stars at this community thing I did Long Island like last year, and we sang our songs, and so the audience got to ask questions to us, and they said, what is the role, that the one role that you want to play on Broadway that you've been dying to play, and this is like your role? And I said, it hasn't been written yet, because there's yet to be a role written for a full-figured woman that's a love interest, that's a lead, that's a star of the show. Yeah. There is not one yet, it's great if she's African American, but just that woman, that type. And so it's like, we need to write that.
Correct.
We need to write that. And then when it comes, we need to have the support behind it to make it go. To answer your question about how maybe I survived in New York, in my undergrad, I knew rejection, because I would audition for stuff and not get it, and still keep going in the program. When I got here, there's some things I didn't get, but I was actually I was finally able to get some roles to show what I could do. And so when I got to New York, I was like, yeah, I know rejection, because I know that's a part of the process, but I know that if you keep beating the pavement and you keep learning and progressing and learning from each audition, using it as a learning experience, you're going to get better at it, and you're going to get the gigs, and that's what happened.
I just want to say that you being here has been really a joy for me and for our students. I've had a lot of memories just sitting there watching you and Constans as we kind of rehearse the show. And with this new, so many generations of students that have come through in 20-something years, but you represent the beginning for me in a lot of ways here. And to bring you back to work with this new generation of students is very special to me and to the students. Aww. And to see you up there now as a seasoned pro, even though you always were, because you were really a hard worker and you did your job and you got up there and you were consistent. So I always say the difference between a professional and amateur are two words: consistency and humility. right? And you have that. And so I think that when you come in and you show all these youngins, as we say, right, what this is all about, and you tie, which is, you know, your Hairspray is such a beautiful show, and it really embraces the past and where we're going in the future.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling about Hairspray?
I'm having way too much fun.
Okay.
And I'm trying not to get him in trouble backstage because, you know, I'm silly too. So I'm like, you know what? Be professional. Provide that example. But it's very hard. They're fun to just converse with. Like when we have a moment and we stop, they ask me questions.
Sure.
And I hope I have the right answers for them. I've gotten in real deep conversations where we're like, we're being too loud in rehearsal because they're saying, well, how did this happen for you? Or how did this work for you? Or they're asking about just juggling life and doing this business. But I always try to remind them that you really have fun doing what they're doing right now. Because this is one of the best times of their life. It's going to go like that. It just, I don't know. I'm trying to put into words how wonderful it has been to really just be here and be with you and see you grow up. Look at you.
Grow up.
Look at you. You didn't have this beard. What's that about?
Baby.
But thank you.
Oh.
Because I didn't know. I thank you for believing in me. You know, because a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people could have looked at me coming in late as, oh, she's, you know, unprofessional and she thinks so much of herself and she's, you know, she thinks she's this talented thing and we're gonna have to knock her down a few pegs or, you know, she's not gonna make it here. She's not gonna make it with the grades, which I struggled with, you know. But you believed in me and you helped me believe in myself. And I'm never gonna forget that. I'm always gonna be thankful to you for that. And as soon as I get that role, you coming out. You coming out.
Coming.
You're coming.
Yeah.
You're coming. So we're gonna be at the Tonys together. Like, look, we made it, y'all. Look.
Oh, thank you for everything.